Hi everyone for coming. Thanks to CARPL for inviting me to speak. We've been working very closely with them over about close to a year now. A bit about myself first. I'm a body, chest / cardiac radiologist at Sengkang. Currently the most junior, not the most junior anymore, thankfully, because we have a few more hires. But I'm also medical informatics lead. I'm in charge of the roster as well as education and core faculty. So a bit about Sengkang. We are the newest hospital currently in Singapore until Woodlands comes out end of this year. We'll be 1,000+ beds by March next year. So quite busy. We handle quite a bit, and I think as of right now, we're just working to becoming a full trauma center. So only the second one in Singapore at the moment. Okay, so just want to briefly talk about CARPL. So CARPL has very kindly we actually have an agreement with them. So they've actually very kindly put a local setup in our hospital. And what they do is they actually pretty much function like an app store. So you can actually have multiple AI solutions actually run out of their app store. You can actually, depending on whether that AI solution will work in your setup, you can actually have it on and actually trial using it, validation, testing, etc. And you actually have a huge amount of solutions on their platform. So be it either all the way from radiographs all the way up to MRIs. So I'm just going to talk a bit about what I've done on their system. And I would also like to thank the AI companies that have been involved, because they are very kindly actually offered us trial licenses and all that, and been very patient with a lot of the feedback that we've actually been giving them. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So just to show how so this is how their interface is like. So if you sit down for about 5 minutes, you can probably get through it. If anyone has used iTunes or Android before, right, it's pretty similar. Basically, any algorithm that you have on the platform is listed by body parts, right? Then from which you can select which ones are available. Each solution will be catered towards you depending on wherever you are, what hospital you're doing. Are you doing testing? Are you doing it full production? You're going live? So depending on what setup you have in your local setting, it can be catered towards you. Okay. So within it as well, they actually have a DICOM viewer. So let's say your specific, you're running a CT, a MR, or even a radiograph in this instance, right? You load the DICOM data into their system. It actually comes out through a viewer. Once you go through the AI algorithm, the outputs will then be produced out as a separate series onto that DICOM file. So then you can actually go and see the results. You can actually bring up 2, 3, 4, 6 viewers, just like any other viewer that you're accustomed to. So it's just quite easy to actually go through. Yeah, and then, we've done some things. So this one, we were using Colombo's system. They were one of the first few guys that actually helped us. So basically, they are MR spine degenerative change assessor as well as a report. It produces a report as well, in addition to assessing degenerative change. So we submitted this abstract to RSNA as a QI project. It's been accepted, so now it's going to be an oral presentation in RSNA. So I'm not going, but Ziying, one of the senior residents who was involved in the paper, will be going there and presenting it on behalf of us. So basically what we did was we took a bunch of MR spines that were done over a certain time period, and we basically clocked the time taken for the state change to occur on risk, measuring that as the time taken to report, and then we did a subsequent, basically a time attack with our residents with the AI outputs to measure how fast that took to produce the outcome. Then we looked at the discrepancy rates between the two. Yeah, but that's just in brief. So this is how the MRs were actually produced. This is some of the outputs of what Colombo would do. So again, this is CARPL's viewer. Everything is inbuilt into the system. So again, MR spine, measuring this height, this protrusion, this bulge, report output. So Colombo has also been very kindly to work with us actually to adjust the report output depending on how our radiologists report. So I generally took a few MR spines reported by some senior consultants, some consultants that I know of, kindly asked them, can I send a few of your example reports? sent it to Colombo. Colombo looked at it and said, okay, we will adjust the report based on how the radiologists write their reports. So this entire thing is actually editable. So, but the interesting thing is that basically all our IMR spines had this kind of output. So it was quite easy to actually use it as a reader as well. Right? So when my trainees were actually going through it, they were actually using this as a reader and writing their reports. And so a few more examples, just based on the interface. Yeah. So again, some of the outputs of Colombo on CARPL system. Yeah. So and we also submitted another one. Unfortunately, this got rejected. But this one we worked very closely with A&E, and I basically showed the system to A&E, and they were very interested. So the medical informatics lead at A&E and the head of audit there gave us a bunch of audit data, basically cases where the fracture was missed by the clinician. So overnight, there's no live reporting at the hospital unless the clinician calls in. So it's all interpreted at bedside by clinicians. So on occasion, a fracture gets missed. Patient gets sent home. So these are recall cases. So we got the data and we ran it through the system and basically calculated the outcome. Now we use RB fracture for this again. Very kind of them to let us use it, and we have moving on to stage 2 with them now, which is very good. Yeah. So examples of how this would look like is again X-ray and RB. They don't have a report output generator, but they do have an abnormality detector. So any abnormality will immediately circle it. And CARPL's platform then will divide it. So let's say there are multiple abnormalities. You have finding 1, finding 2, finding 3. You can toggle to off finding 2, disagree, finding 1, finding 2, etc. So it just makes it easy to just toggle through. So again, the viewer is here. So basically the first 2 images will be the images without AI outputs. Then the subsequent images will be with AI outputs, so with the report as well. Yeah. So again, some examples of how this would look like, generally speaking. Yeah. So this would be like the generated report. Then the DICOM will be tagged example. So this, for example, this was an error. It was detecting the os navicularis as a fracture. So that's why you had to go through the cases, feedback, etc. There's a ability to even put annotations into it, so you can put a feedback annotator within it. So each case that you go through, you can agree or disagree. The data is then tabulated onto a CSV file, extract it, put it into Excel, and you can actually run your statistics through it quite easily. Yeah. So again, just more examples of what we've done. Yeah. And then this is how a normal would look like. So you just say no fracture detected. So again, it depends on which algorithm that you're testing in particular. But generally speaking, all of this just functions out of the CARPL viewer. So I don't need to install anything else. I don't need to run any additional software. Whatever algo I run, CARPL will just put it onto the thing, and then I'm able to tabulate that data as well and validate my results. So example, this is Koala's by IB Labs looking at OA knee. So again, I just put some OA knee, your typical OA knee results, X-rays done on clinic, and then basically this is how the report will be generated. So again, all inbuilt into the viewer. Yeah. So just some examples again. This one is actually by Chestnut. It's the Stanford open source AI system. So this was the default that was on it. Yeah. So again, it just produces all the outcomes that are actually within that particular algorithm now. So it can be quite confusing. So there's ability within the system for you to toggle on and off different outcomes. So let's say I don't want to assess for atelectasis, effusion, infiltration. I can switch that off. So I can isolate out to, let's say, 3 or 4 outcomes only, and the ability to orchestrate multiple at one shot. So if I got multiple chest X-ray solutions, I can run all 4 simultaneously and actually get the outcome and actually compare them across time. And within CARPL's platform as well, you can generate the curve and the AUC all automatically as well. Okay. So again, another example. Let's say there's an abnormality. Again, probability scores again, but this is too many, right? So if, let's say, you have a clinical question, you want to isolate for a specific outcome, you can then toggle to that specific outcome alone. Okay, so yeah, our team. So initially we were hooked up to the television there, which was quite cool, but it was a bit too big. So we were then using the spare barcode, but I've sponsored a mini monitor now, so that uses as our main desktop. So this is our central reporting. So actually it's good because my trainees, when they come to work, they walk past this system every day. So they actually can see it live and they actually can play with it if they want to. So as to what I've learned from the process, funny enough, I don't think AI should be applied to everything. I find that you need to work with your clinicians to find the question as to where AI should be applied. So if you use AI across the entire population, you're going to dilute the outcome. But if you apply AI to a specific subset of a population, example, on call where there's reduced manpower, cases which take up a bulk of your caseload but are very repetitive and extremely boring to report, then you may be able to maximize a particular AI outcome. Yeah. So that's, I'm free to have a chat or ask questions, but that's the end of my session. Yeah.